you can receive information about how the world's controlled by a few people and who they are and to what end. And you can take that as, oh my God, that's terrifying. Or, well, that's good, that, because now I'm in a much stronger position to understand the world and therefore do something about it and stop it impacting on my life. It's just a matter of literal perception, how we receive things. And I found it kind of strange in those days that what people call themselves spiritual, but would not encompass this information because it was negative. And they were going around telling people, you let go of fear, and then they were telling me you can't say this because you might frighten people. Well, are you trying to convince yourself or me or what? And a lot of that kind of what I call conceptual spiritual reality, where it's not a being, it's a conceptual thing. It's almost an intellectual thing. A lot of that has kind of fused into what we call the woke mentality these days. People say, people have got to wake up. Why don't more people wake up? But, there's another angle to that, is that why are they asleep? Wouldn't it be a great idea, or wouldn't it be a great boon if we knew why so many people were in a coma of reality, devoid of what's actually going on? And if we actually explored why that is, we might have much more success in doing something about it. So, it's like there is an agenda for humanity, which fundamentally includes, without which it couldn't work, the suppression of the population's sense of self, sense of the I, and also the way we believe the reality is that we're experiencing. If you can keep that from people, then you can put them in a very small box, a perceptual box, which they'll stay in for life. The idea, surely, is to try to break those prison boxes and let people set their minds and their consciousness free. And to do that, we've got to understand how the box works and how it's formed, and then we can do something about it. Just going around saying love and light, it's all going to be fine. Well, it's going to be fine if things happen. It's going to be fine if perceptions change, which means the world changes. It's not going to be fine if we go on the way we have been, because that's how we got here. What is awakening for me? It's the body-mind awakening to its true self. And as it awakens, its frequency expands and increases and starts to reconnect and end the separation with expanded levels of consciousness. And that's why people that were genuinely awakening rather than conceptually awakening, they start to see the world in a completely different way as that process unfolds, because they've got access to insight, knowledge, awareness that they didn't have before. This simulation is a source of information. If you look at the Matrix movies, they don't go into the Matrix, the simulation, physically. They stay outside of it. They sit in that chair on the ship, and that probe is put in the back of the neck, and it connects them to an information source. And the brain starts decoding that information source so that they experience a completely different reality. It's very much equivalent to putting the headset on, only vastly more advanced and sophisticated. And then they experience what they call the Matrix, and the Matrix to the brain, very real, just as the most sophisticated headset virtual reality games are very real to people. And so what we're doing, we're actually imprisoned by an information source that's dictating our perception of reality. And the more that you believe in physicality, the more you believe in this human world, the more you are pulled into the five senses. For instance, if you say to people, who are you? Nice to meet you. Who are you? They'll give you their name, they'll give you their location, they'll give you their birthplace possibly, they'll give you their job. And what are they giving you? They're giving you the labels of a human life. The labels not of the I, but of the human experience which the I is having. And all of those labels are from the body, mind, five sense reality. All of them. They only exist there. And so we are encouraged from cradle to grave to self-identify the I with those labels. That's pulled our self-identity into the five senses, the world of the simulation, and to perceive the world as solid and therefore what? Limited. They have to get us to see everything in terms of limitation. I can't, it's not possible, because that's all part of the mind prison. And of course, what's happened when you start to awaken from the five senses, what you're doing actually is you're awakening from the simulation. You're awakening from the information that's constantly being fed to you to give you a fake sense of reality and a fake sense of self. And if you look through the ages, right to modern times, it's the people that are exploring beyond the physical world as we perceive it that have been the targets of authority. You know, all the and if you can't completely convince the population that there is nothing else but this, and of course a lot of people will say, well, there's got to be something else. Well, you grab most of them, certainly over the period of known human history, with a religion and a version of God, hence the incredibly ridiculous phrase, in my view, God-fearing. So you fear some force which you have to keep happy. Otherwise, some very nasty things are going to happen. And when you then break out of the prison by the realization that we're all points of attention within an infinite consciousness, infinite possibility, infinite potential, and this is just one very small, almost infinitesimal possibility within an infinite possibility, then those walls of limitation, and I can't and it's not possible, the walls of limitation of your self-identity, I'm just little me, what power have I got? I'm just a cosmic accident, or I'm just have to do what God tells me. How do you know what God tells you? Well, that bloke in a frock tells me. Oh, okay, that's right. Okay, got that. So it's and in the end, it's the whole foundation of everything is perception control, controlling perception. The more limited you can get people to perceive self in the world, the more you've got them. And if you look, and because from this perspective, everything in the rest of the world starts to look not just different, it starts to become explainable on a much deeper level. So you look at this whole woke mentality that's been funded and programmed into existence by the billionaires of this cult. And it comes down in the end to simple mathematics. There are closing in now on 8 billion people, and the number of people that are at the core in full knowledge, manipulating those billions are tiny. I mean, if you got to the core of the core of this global cult, you'd get them in a single room. So mathematically, it's impossible to manipulate billions of people unless, one, those billions of people just do whatever you say because you're authority, so you must be obeyed. I'm sorry, don't agree. And the other thing is what you brought up. You have to divide and rule them, and you have to play them off against each other. If people realize we're all the same consciousness having different experiences, how do you start to divide and rule that level of awareness? You can't.